It was a quiet winter night in 2017 when 28-year-old bartender Jake Holland closed up. The Lantern, a remote pub nestled deep in the Oregon woods. He clocked out at 2:13 a.m., left the back door light on like always, and was never seen again. His car was found in the gravel lot with the keys still in the ignition. No signs of struggle. No footprints in the snow. Nothing. Locals searched the area for weeks, and investigators combed through every lead, but Jake had simply vanished. Some said he ran off. Others whispered darker theories. But without any evidence, the case quickly went cold. Jake's family never gave up hope. They kept flyers posted, shared his story online, and returned to the Lantern every year on the anniversary of his disappearance. Then, 6 years later, something strange happened. A cleaning crew at a roadside motel, just 12 miles from the old pub, found an old leather duffel bag tucked behind a false panel in one of the rooms. Inside were personal items that hadn't been seen since the night Jake disappeared his wristwatch. A pub notebook filled with drink orders. And one more thing no one expected. The discovery stunned the community and forced investigators to reopen the case. But what they found inside that bag didn't just raise questions, it hinted at a chilling possibility. Was Jake trying to hide from someone? Or had he left a clue behind, hoping someone would finally piece it all together? Should we start with the motel discovery, or retrace Jake's final night at the Lantern? Jake Holland wasn't the kind of guy who just walked away from his life. Friends described him as loyal, grounded, and always the last one to leave work. He'd been bartending at the Lantern for nearly 4 years and lived in a small rental cabin not far from the pub. Nothing in his life suggested he was planning to disappear. In fact, the night he vanished, his phone showed texts to a friend about meeting up for breakfast the next morning, but sometime between locking the doors and heading to his car, Jake was gone. The Lantern itself added another layer of mystery. The pub had a long-standing reputation in town, known for its remote location, rustic charm, and the kind of regulars who didn't ask too many questions. Over the years, there had been whispers of odd things happening, their strangers passing through cash-only deals and truckers stopping by at strange hours. Nothing concrete, just small-town rumors. But after Jake vanished, those rumors felt different. The duffel bag found in the motel wasn't just filled with personal items. There was also a matchbook from the Lantern with something scribbled inside coordinates and a time. Investigators checked it out, but the spot led to a clearing in the woods with no signs of disturbance. Still, it raised the question, was Jake planning to meet someone that night? And if so, did he get there? And one more detail stuck out: asterisk. The motel room had been paid for in cash, under a false name, just 2 days before the bag was found. Asterisk, should we follow the coordinates Jake left behind or look into who booked the motel room? The motel owner said the guest who stayed in that room didn't seem out of the ordinary. Paid in cash, stayed one night, and checked out early before sunrise. No ID was shown, but the name used on the sign-in sheet, G. Lambert, didn't match any known visitors or residents in the area. Investigators ran the name and found nothing. But a curious detail surfaced: the same name had once appeared on an old delivery invoice too. The Lantern from 2016, months before Jake vanished. A liquor order that Jake supposedly signed for. The problem? Jake didn't remember ever signing it, according to his notes in the bar's logbook. This led detectives to re-interview the pub's owner, Tom Ridley, who had long kept out of the spotlight. Tom insisted the delivery was routine and that the name was probably just a driver alias. But former staff began sharing memories: late-night deliveries without receipts, cases dropped off with no invoices, and Tom taking certain bottles straight to his back office. One former cook mentioned that Jake had grown uneasy near the end. He'd started asking questions about the pub's finances, and even joked that if something ever happened to him, they should check the delivery logs. As more threads connected, a bigger picture began to form. Jake wasn't just a bartender. He may have uncovered something he wasn't supposed to see. And if that's true, the duffel bag and the hidden matchbook weren't random, they were. A message: should we dig deeper into Tom Ridley's past or track down G.I. Lambert's connection to the pub? As investigators pressed deeper, a troubling pattern emerged: several deliveries to the Lantern between 2015 and 2017 had been processed under different names, all with vague signatures and no recorded follow-up. Most of the receipts led nowhere. But one stood out. A delivery labeled Lambert Holdings, supposedly a beverage distributor, was tied to a P.O. box located near the State Line Inn area, known for fly-by-night companies and shell accounts. Agents went to the post office, but the box had been closed 4 years ago. The identity behind it still unknown. Meanwhile, Jake's sister Rachel came forward with something she hadn't told anyone before. Just a week before he vanished, Jake had handed her a small metal key. No label, no explanation. He only said, asterisk, if anything weird happens, hang on to this. She had kept it hidden all these years, unsure what it meant. When investigators tested it, it matched a safety deposit box at a rural bank an hour from the Lantern. What they found inside wasn't money or documents. It was a flash drive, encrypted but partially recoverable. Inside were photos, blurry. Surveillance shots of men in suits unloading unmarked crates into the back entrance of the pub. One of the faces looked eerily familiar, possibly Tom Ridley, the owner himself. The timeline matched the night Jake disappeared. Whatever Jake had uncovered, it was serious enough for him to hide the evidence. But now that it had surfaced, someone clearly wanted it buried again. Should we open the flash drive contents fully, or confront Tom with the recovered photos? Just as agents prepared to confront Tom Ridley with the recovered flash drive images, he vanished. One morning, the pub was locked up, his truck gone, and no sign of activity. Calls to his number went straight to voicemail, and his home showed no signs of struggle, just a half-packed suitcase and a glass of whiskey still sitting on the counter. It was like he had gotten wind of the investigation and slipped away before anyone could reach him. But here's where things took an unexpected turn. Later that week, a local hiker reported a strange find near a hiking trail roughly 30 minutes from the old pub. It was a rusted-out storage container, half buried in the woods. Inside, authorities found more crates like the ones seen in Jake's photos. They were empty, but labels showed they once held expensive imported liqueur, of which had ever been registered through state channels. Hidden beneath a false floor, they found a second duffel bag. This one had something different. A burner phone, dead for years but with one contact saved, Jake Holland. For the first time, investigators had solid proof that Jake might have been in contact with someone from inside the operation and possibly even trying to expose it. But if Jake had this phone or knew who did, then the question wasn't just who silenced him, but asterisk, why was he getting so close to their operation in the first place? Asterisk, and more importantly, was Jake ever really working alone? Want to uncover who may have been helping Jake from the inside or track Tom Ridley's escape route? The burner phone was sent to a forensic lab, and after days of careful data recovery, investigators pulled one final message from it, never sent, but saved in drafts. It read, asterisk, he knows I have the photos. I'm meeting him tonight. If I don't, come back. Tell Rachel to use the key. The timestamp: the night Jake vanished. That message confirmed what everyone feared. Jake wasn't just a bystander. He was trying to expose something bigger. Agents finally traced Tom Ridley's truck to a small border town, where he had checked into a cabin under a fake name. When they moved in, he was already gone, but in a locked drawer, they found something unexpected. Jake's wallet, still intact, still holding his ID, and a folded note inside with only 3 words, asterisk, not what it seems. Then came the biggest twist. A new witness came forward, former bartender at the Lantern, who left months before Jake disappeared. He admitted he and Jake had uncovered strange shipments and tried to report it, but were told to drop it by someone claiming to be with state licensing. But no record of such a visit existed. That agent matched the description of someone spotted with Ridley in old surveillance footage. The smuggling was real. The cover-up went deeper than local business. And Jake? His body was never found, but a blurry figure on a traffic camera weeks before the motel discovery looked a lot like Himmelder, bearded, walking alone into the fog. So, did Jake really vanish? Or did he escape? Want help turning this into a cinematic recap video or building your next real mystery episode? After years of silence, clues scattered across forgotten motel rooms, hidden messages, and long lost, flash drives finally gave Jake Holland's story new life. The illegal shipment ring was eventually linked to a wider regional network using remote pubs and motels as drop points. Tom Ridley was never caught, but the discovery of the wallet and duffel bags proved his deep involvement. Authorities quietly closed down the shell companies tied to the liquor distribution, and the Lantern was sold to a new owner who claimed they had no interest in the past.